So next is the Broadway Junction. And New York
Good evening,
IBZ.
everyone. My name's Gigi Lee. I am in the Government and Community Relations team at EDC, New York City Economic Development Corporation. Thank you for the opportunity to present. I think I gave a update last year. I don't remember the month, but I remember that it was warm outside, so I'm happy to be back again. So I'm going to be going through this deck, which is in your yellow folders. It's an update on the Broadway Junction and East New York Industrial Business Zone project updates. So I am excited to go through the commitments that both EDC and the City of New York have committed for equitable growth in Broadway Junction and East New York. We feel like they fall under three distinct buckets. One, public realm. So there's been over $130 million invested to improve pedestrian safety, a new public space, and enhanced connections mostly around the Broadway Junction subway stop. Since we last spoke, the design RFP for the streetscapes have been released, as well as for Gateway Plaza. And so we are going through them now, and those awards should be coming later this year, and we'll come back to you when design starts to do more community engagement and more understanding of what you want to see in the space. And I'll go through each of these in a little bit more detail in subsequent slides. The second bucket is economic development. So we took a close look at city-owned land in the area and how we could use that to support workforce development. So to that end, we released an RFP for two sites in the area, one on Sackman Street and William Avenue, and the other, one is Sackman Street and the other one is a William Avenue site in the IBZ itself. We're continuing to lease up our East New York Industrial Building on Powell, and then also really excited, some of you may have seen a new ribbon cutting for Sure We Can on East New York Ave. And then also, we are very close, probably a month or two, to announce some new awardees from an East Brooklyn Workforce Development Fund RFP. And so as we continue all of these initiatives, we will continue to do in community engagement. I know, it's all sort of mostly under Councilmember Nurse's district, but we give these updates to all three of the neighboring community boards, because you'll see in the subsequent map, you guys kind of, the boundaries cut through all three boards. And so we'll continue to engage all three of your boards and the community.
That's it. It's only CB5 and 16. What other?
Is it 5, 16? I think we do one more. Four, yes. 4, 5, and 16.
4 don't have anything to do with Broadway Junction.
They have a couple of blocks.
You said Conway Street?
So we do 3 just to make sure everyone feels included. All right, so going to the one that you may have heard the most about is the Broadway Junction New Public Realm Investment. So if you turn the page, you'll see a breakdown of how that $130 million is allocated. And again, it's creating more open space, safer commutes, and to really reclaim land for public use. So you have a majority of the money, which is the $77 million, going to Gateway Plaza, Callahan, Kelly Park Extension, and then relocating Transit Police District Station 33, which I will talk about in a subsequent slide. You have $16 million to improve Van Sinderen, $34 million for the Broadway Streetscape Improvements, and then $13 million for Van Sinderen Avenue Streetscape Improvements. And you'll see this is the map that sort of shows you where those improvements are, and then they're color-coded here so that you know what source of funding is paying for those improvements.
I have a question.
Yep.
It says the Callahan Kelly Playground. That's the new park there, isn't it?
It's done
So
already.
it's already done. What is renovation? That's a new park.
Like, that's done already.
No, so it's on the next page. We're extending the park.
Okay.
Well, we did a walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say extension, the only thing that I recall is that they were talking about making that street a one-way that leads into the park, because what do you call that?
The IBZ.
The IBZ
Mhm.
was going underneath over there by Broadway Junction too.
Oh, no, so it says we're extending Callahan Kelly Park to Van Sinderen Avenue and providing enhanced access and sightlines to the Broadway Junction station entrance. So in total, it will be over 4 acres of public space.
So the only thing that they're doing is the front of Broadway Junction now, right? Because the park is already done completely.
Okay. Yeah,
It's spread the car, yeah.
I'm confused.
The picture shows what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
conceptual rendering. So
Let
if you
me
look
see.
at that, they're trying to do that plaza, and what they mean by extension is just that plaza extension there. So
Make it
it'll
look like
be
Barclays.
more continuous.
Yeah, it'll be a whole continuous sort of triangle or trapezoid.
So
Oh, so how
from
it's
the
like
park
raised
coming,
up,
Yeah.
like by the bus stop, it's just gonna,
Right.
you're gonna knock
Right.
all that out and make it all flat.
right.
It'll all be open. It's continuous open space.
Okay.
Okay, so about your federal funding, has that already been allocated?
Yes.
Okay.
We have the money's here. The money's. I mean, I can't promise it's not going to be taken back, but at least the money is here.
You all better hurry up and spend it.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that.
Everybody
Get over it.
knows their grades.
Yeah, everyone's losing money, but it's
To
here.
his billions.
Yeah, before Muskie finds out about it.
It is a DEI investment project, okay? We gotta make sure that the money is A, there, and B, spent before.
That's right.
We're
That's
trying
right.
to stay on schedule so that we're just using, yep.
You better tell them to go beyond scheduling, because this is happening quick.
Get this one, yeah.
And we don't want anything.
Yeah. I hear you on that
This
one.
is a black and brown community, and he is thumbs down on that, and we have to remember that.
For the Van Sinderen Streetscape, is there going to be any integration with the connection for the LIRR to the, a safer connection?
Yes.
From the LIRR to the Broadway Junction, MTA Transit?
I think,
And when I say safer, I mean, like, so that you don't have to go under that tunnel, but also so that if you're not going over that, you're climbing into Atlantic Avenue, because that's just as unsafe.
I have to get back to you on this, on the actual specifics on that one. I know that we're still like very early in the design phase, and I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what it all covers. I know it's a lot of like lighting and like pier passage, but I don't know if it's I don't remember if it's a direct access.
Is there still room for integration and for that? That's a really big
It is.
thing
Yeah.
to change in this.
We've been advocating for that for a while, and the scope, based on your scope here, it doesn't include it.
Yeah,
Meaning there would have to be an overpass or an underpass
Right.
or some way of going through the station, right? But this scope stops at the LIRR, so just.
yeah, I remember this coming up in previous engagement sessions, and I think that would be a much larger scale project in coordination with Long Island Railroad and MTA, and my guess is based on the amount here, that wouldn't cover that, but I will double check for you.
Okay, so how can we get it included in here?
You probably can get it included in here, but that's something that we're gonna have to look at closely, because we spend time clocking people coming. That's an area that Long Island Railroad, they are coming, and they're coming there, and they go into Broadway Junction.
Make a lot of money.
And they're making a lot of money. So Long Island Railroad, that what they told us before, if my memory served me right, that they would have a part in some of this.
Yes.
And it just, like, I bring it up because you're EDC, so you have a direct pipeline to the MTA. So, you know, we need you to grease the wheels to get that.
Yeah.
Okay, also, and I might just have been too new to the committee, and also might have some of my facts misconstrued, but isn't there like a light rail that's supposed to connect?
Yes.
Yes.
The IBX. So like, is that connected to this at all?
The IBX.
No.
Okay, and then there's also the Herkimer and Williams project, which Boris was kind enough to illustrate for me on the map. A lot of what they have been proposing, as vague as it is actually directly abutting all of your like public realm improvement spaces and all of that. And that just leads me to believe that they're just trying to capitalize on you. So exactly how are you going to be integrating with them? And not competing with their ideals for public space and public realm improvements, which they promised as part of their plan as
And the
well.
space that they were supposed to do.
I know that we have been speaking with them on like what their plans are and how they integrate. I mean, we are not, we're only working on our public sites, but we are in communication with them and like understanding what their intentions are for their site.
Okay, because my concern is that you guys have a lot of, well, a good portion of, especially their, I guess that's supposed to be their manufacturing space, is indicated for your streetscape and pedestrian improvements. And so if that's going to be their commercial and manufacturing space, I can see a lot of collision in terms of what you guys are planning versus what they'll be bringing in. So again, I might be misconstruing some facts. I might even have it inverse on, you know, what my idea of reading this map is. But I just have some concerns about that, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys need to have some meetings so that you can kind of align your planning.
Yeah.
And the church, there was a church, what was that, what's that? Right, that we've been trying to find out who the person is. The pastor they couldn't locate. They're saying part of it is a part of Broadway Junction, but they don't know what the other part is. But then they were saying it was gonna mirror, but how are they mirroring? Are they piggybacking off of them? We need some clarity because we can't seem to get a resolve around that. And then we had space. What was the 40,000 when we went to Broadway Junction, stood out in the rain?
Yes.
That public space that we gave suggestions on what it is that we would like to see there as far as soundproofing that area because of the train. Now I see the work is being done for the train station, the scraping, the painting, and all of that. But what is happening with that space? You guys haven't come back to us and said anything.
The LDC had something to do with that, didn't they?
Who?
The local development corporation.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
They did?
They was asking us directly, what is it that we would like to see at that space over there? That was the space between.
Not just talking about their proposed private plaza, so that is actually adjacent to your plaza, which makes
that's
the
not-
point that this community member here is saying.
That's
Like,
the public space
the
for.
continuous vision is very important,
Right.
right?
Got it.
Because one influences the other, or vice versa, especially with since it'll perceivably be a full public plaza,
Right.
with one side private and the other side EDC public.
Right.
So just to add to something.
Right, so we are very close to selecting our design team. So I think, once we have a design team on board, I think like these are conversations, and I'll definitely bring this back, like these are conversations that need to be had with the Herkimer site folks.
I mean,
As
just
well as
the
us.
bottom,
And-
I guess.
And you, yes, and we'll always be coming back here.
Okay.
As a bottom line, we just want to see it be a fully functional transit hub, like all the other ones in New York City. Like
Yep.
Connecting. Yeah, like Barclays Center.
Right, and to leave out the Long Island Railroad does us a disservice.
Yes.
We had transit come here before,
Right.
and this is something that we spoke about. We were on the news. We had CB4, Mr. Camacho, go down the stairs and see how long it took him, because he's disabled.
Right.
right? And then we had children from shelters with their mom trying to cross the street. We have to get that right. We have to get that right. So it has to be a collaboration. It can't be done in piecemeal. And CB5 must be a part of this planning. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring it back up again with the Long Island Railroad folks. But we're doing what we can on the city-owned public land piece, right? They're sort of, it's a different organization.
The state, LAR, state.
Yeah, that's state.
That's not part of the state.
Or they're just a different organization.
And it's
Yeah.
part of MTA, so technically it's operated by city and state, just like MTA.
In our neighborhood, so.
Boris just mumbled something, and I don't think he intended for anyone to hear it, but he just mumbled the racist practices of New York's first planner, Robert Moses, and we're hopeful, basically, all the statements made so far is that EDC and all the other entities that's involved in planning of this site will not continue to incorporate those systemic structural racist tropes throughout.
Which is why it is right now.
Like they did at the Barclay.
Yeah, and that is.
And we understand that this is well above more than what you as an individual can handle.
Right.
We're hopeful that, at least as a black or brown person yourself, you'll be able to take the concerns back to.
Absolutely. Yes, and I think, the public realm improvements that we are trying to push forward and we're committed to executing here, I think the equitable, lens is part of why we are trying to really push this forward. Okay, so I think you guys all know that the subway station, that the MTA is investing over $400 million in that station, right? So a very high level, 7 new elevators, replacing the escalators, and then also a brand new station entrance. Which then brings me to the next page, which is the NYPD Transit 33 precinct relocation. So as part of this project, Transit 33, which currently has space within the subway station, that will be taken out. But the police will continue, transit police will continue to have a small presence in the area where they are now, but the area where they occupy will become open space as part of this larger project. And so right now we are looking at 1508 Herkimer. This is still a conversation that is happening because it's a lot of city agencies all trying to figure this out. But 1508 right now is the site that is kind of coming to what everyone, it works sort of for everyone. And so what you'll see is a 4-story mid-block new transit location. It will have a full lobby. It will have a community room, glass street frontage, and all of the street parking that the transit police have parking will be part of their new site. So their vehicles will be taken off the city streets and sidewalks. And so there is also when you relocate any NYPD facility, there is a distance location, right? That you can't go too far from where it was originally cited. So distance is part of the conversation as to where it can be relocated to. We will have to come to, we're thinking the earliest is May, maybe June, in one large ULURP action, which I think this committee is familiar with, the Uniform Land Use Review process, where the community board is sort of the first stop in approvals. If you look at the map, you guys have Van Sinderen, right? And then it sort of splits. So I think CB16
it's on
actually
CB16.
has 1508 Herkimer.
Yeah.
But it's going to be in the same application. You'll vote for part of it, and then 16 will vote for the other part of it.
Okay, so 1508 Herkimer, that's currently not city owned, because I'm on Google Maps and I
That's
see
right.
that it's privately, so have
It's
you
owned by
guys-
Lesser.
I have no idea who that is, I'm not sure if I
Okay,
They
should,
own
but,
2440.
okay. Are you guys in negotiation to appropriate the space from them already? How much are they asking for? Is that money going to come out of this project funds? Or is it a separate set aside on capital? If they decide to get greedy and, because you're a city, EDC is not city, but you'll be using it for purposes of a city agency, decide they want to scalp you guys and double their prices, like, where's the extra money going to come from? And if you have to lose money from this project, like, what are you going to take out from this project to close that gap? What's your pitch, basically, I'm asking?
The city,
Got it. Okay.
the city could use eminent domain if it's beneficial.
Whoa.
No,
They
No,
can
that's
do
the
that.
state. The
That's the
state would
state.
have to do that.
City doesn't have it.
The
No,
city does not
the
have
state,
the
the
authority to
state.
do that.
But what
So-
I'm saying, they could probably try to do that.
Are you in
Nah,
talks
but
with the
like-
governor's office to institute and
Okay,
all right.
Wait.
Let me-
So many people talking at the same time. Wait, everybody got excited just now.
Just quickly, it does say property owner will build an NYPD station and the city will acquire the property, so just.
Yes.
Okay, that's what
So-
I'm saying. That.
The city will own the land.
Okay.
The city will continue to own the land.
Yeah, McGrath.
$33 million of capital money will be allocated for relocating NYPD over to the site, as well as a full cost of relocation, which would include non-building related costs. That money is separate and aside
Okay.
from all of everything we talked about in the previous slides. That money has been set aside, has been designated for those public realm improvements, and have already been approved to be used by the city's Office of Management and Budget. So these are completely different pots of money. One will not be taking away from the other.
That's awesome. Now, this
Okay.
33 million, where is that coming from? Which budget from the city? Was it approved then? Again?
Nothing is approved yet because we have not, we're coming to you, so the public realm money is all approved,
Now,
right?
I get that. It's-
But we have
the
not,
dour look on
we
my
have
face
not
is just-
finalized,
Yeah.
we have not finalized this location yet.
Okay.
That's why it says on here, it's the preferred location. These conversations are active and ongoing, and we have to come to you and CB16 for ULURP for change of use, right? Because right now, the property is, we're changing that to open space. And then when you want a new city facility in another piece of property, all that has to go through the public land use review process. So that's what but by me saying nothing is final yet, it's because we have, the ULURP process is 6 to 8 months. We have to come to you with an understanding of what this deal is,
We
what it
understand
costs,
that. It's
right?
just like, what are some of the other alternative locations you're looking at, just in case this preferred location doesn't pan?
Yeah, so we did look at a couple of other locations. We looked at neighboring MTA controlled sites. We looked at Totem's redevelopment site, and then we also looked at 2440 Fulton.
It would be great to put those alternatives here versus your preferred location, just for.
But like-
information.
But those locations, for one reason or another, are not, they don't meet sort of like the PD, DCAS, EDC. We all sort of have different, everyone comes to the table with different needs and different ways of structuring, the financials, the land use. And so those are other locations that we have considered and we've looked at over the past year or so. But the one that we think is really going to move forward is 1508 Herkimer.
So
It just sounds like you're saying it's not viable.
1508 is the same owner as 2440.
Lesser.
Yeah.
What if the construction of the NYPD station exceeds the 33 million that is allocated? And the moving it exceeds that, like what?
Yeah, so typically when we budget out a project of this scale, we always allow a certain percentage of contingency because things change. Inflation, labor, supply chain. Supply chain. Supply chain was going to be my nicer way of saying tariffs, right? Supply chain shifts, right? So we always put in a certain percentage on large scale projects for contingency. It's just kind of like a way to buffer. I think if it goes beyond that, those are conversations that will have to happen between NYPD, like what we want in a facility for NYPD versus like what the city can afford.
And if the private entity is the one initiating and what oversight, since this is money is coming back from the city to acquire the land, what is the oversight in the construction process to ensure that there's, no fraudulence, there's no waste, there's whatever?
Yeah, so that's
Exactly.
that's like city oversight on construction. So that's like something that the city will monitor.
But, I mean, is it, okay. You see what I'm asking? I'm asking if this is taxpayer dollars that are going to acquire this after it's built by a private entity, and other than the Department of Buildings, there's really no financial oversight over the process and vendors and procurement and workforce or anything.
Yeah, so that's what EDC does. We have a whole capital development management team that works with developers, the bidders, everything that's how we come up with the estimate. EDC manages, as an entity, we manage over 65 million square feet of property throughout New York City, and we build large-scale development projects throughout the city, and we monitor them with our capital team, with our property management team. That is something that we do internally in terms of quality control and financial oversight, and all of those things are built into the contract with the developer.
Okay.
Yeah, just real quick, I just want clarity in regards to logistics and process. You mentioned a request for a zoning change for said property. You would want a zoning change prior to purchasing said property, whether it's in the totem proposed or the lesser group? You would
It's
rather-
it's not that we're gonna, it's not that we're asking for zoning, it's just,
Yes, you need.
yes, it's part of the ULURP zoning proposal, but it's not for, it's for the use, it's for the use.
The city facilities.
For city facility, right? Because right now, a city facility does not exist on that location, and for a use to allow on that site.
So there will be no request for a
Increased
LSGD, large scale
No.
group development request.
So-
for said
It's just
site.
like a daycare. It's just like when this building was rehabbed, they had to go through ULURP.
Right.
Because
Because they had to update and upgrade an existing city facility, and then they added additional amenities. Like the PAO annex down the block when they built that, however many years ago they built it, that was also a ULURP.
Because I'm thinking about,
Everything
the-
is
once you said lesser, for me anyway, it's a trigger and it's a trust thing.
Yes,
So you're
yes.
saying you want to get, I just want to be
So
clear on the zoning.
here's my asterisk, right? So when we come to you, we're saying NYPD will be 4 stories, and that's the use on that site for the 4 stories. Lesser still has the rights for the remainder of the height of the building, right? So we don't know, and they have not shared with us their intention of what may be built in the rest of the
You
site,
can build it as of right, is what she's saying.
As of
right?
right,
So
condominium.
if they,
So it's not-
Well, what's the zone?
Well, this is not, well, I don't think you're gonna do
1508.
condominiums in this area.
So if-
And it's zoned for like
is it-
office, honestly.
It's near transit.
Okay.
No, it's probably gonna be an office building,
If
they're
it's
gonna be a
manufacturing,
tenant, and
that's
call it a day, like.
different. That's different if it's, but if it has an overlying residential usage. First of all, I'm not even sure that there's any allowable mixture of an NYPD precinct
Why
of
do
any
they need
kind
4 stories?
with residential,
Well, like,
uses. So-
right now it's like a manufacturing building, so like, it's already commercial, it can't be turned into like housing.
But
So
it's
probably
also
gonna be
within,
off.
it's also in the footprint of Herkimer Williams.
I understand that, but like,
And they're
Yeah.
going for residential.
So
They're
if-
going for
if-
RC.
but you have,
Yeah.
they'll
The
have
shelter
to
right there.
come to us to get
They
that
would have to
approved.
come, right,
can't
they would
do
have
that
to get a
on
public
Friday.
approval.
That's what I'm saying.
They would have to
I
get a public
understand that,
approval.
but if this is done before Herkimer Williams,
Thank
then this building site is going to have whatever zoning Herkimer Williams gets.
You know, yeah.
And then outside of that 4 stories,
I see the hustle.
because it's owned and operated by a different site the city's leasing, they can now do what they want.
And then, what's the impact as far as if the lesser group property is not in play, if the talks falls out? What type is your agency looking to go against community in regards to the totem development project? Because you said that's plan B, so to speak, in regards to the total development.
I can't, that's just, I understand the intent of the question. I just can't answer a hypothetical situation right now because we're still in negotiations for 1508, right? And so
So nothing's been secured.
it's nothing, this is me coming to you guys early to be open and honest about where the status of our conversations are, and then coming back to you when and if we think we have a deal to present to you. But
We're trying to help you put the deal together.
yes,
And
yeah.
and at the same time, and not to get hustled.
That's right, Miss
I'll
Bright.
tell you that.
Yeah, and look, any concerns you have, I'm gonna take back to like, for the people who are, our real estate team who are having these conversations. And share it with them, so.
Because we know what happened in East New York.
Mhm.
You decide,
Why do we need 4 stories?
they decide what they think we need. We tell them what we need, and they never could give us what we need and want.
Right.
They always give you something else.
They want.
And, right, it's not, I've been sitting here a long time looking at all the dreams that we put out and we don't get back. And we've always,
Yes.
and I'm waiting to see what you're gonna do with the local development corporation that, the industrial park. What's gonna happen with the industrial park? I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
that's the rest.
So before we move from there,
But yes, go ahead.
The
Why does it
story-
need 4 stories?
Why do they need 4 stories?
So-
Because
Yeah,
right now where they are in Broadway Junction, they don't have 4 stories of nothing, right?
right.
And then you also said pretty much they will have some presence still in Broadway Junction. And then we do know the escalators were supposed to be, or the elevators are supposed to be in that area as well. And I'm not hearing anything about the ADA part of it, right?
So it's gonna be fully ADA accessible.
Right, okay.
It's gonna be at the end of this, the whole station is gonna be fully ADA
But
accessible.
when are they gonna start?
Yes. So I don't know. I don't think I have the MTA schedule with me. Hold on 1 second.
But that's about their 4 stories.
But when they're gonna start is really gonna be dependent on whether we can get the relocation deal done.
See?
Because
What does that have to do with? No.
You hear it?
No. What does that have to do with ADA? That's unacceptable. That's totally unacceptable.
Let's get what they want. Did you say that?
That is totally unacceptable.
They hold this blackmail.
So we're being held hostage.
Blackmail, yeah.
To private developers.
Yeah.
Now you see the hustle play community? You see how it's played out? Thank you for your honesty.
So now, what do we do with this?
Look at this. Y'all see how they trying to play us?
Boris, you had a,
Yeah, I just wanna make sure I respect that she's getting a response back for Madam Chair over here. And
I didn't
then-
get no response about
Yeah,
that
so I'm
fourth
just
floor.
waiting 'cause,
That fourth
she sent
floor,
me her
the
talking
fourth
points, so I
story.
just wanna-
Okay, so I'm gonna get back to you on that, but I know that MTA is already starting some of the work in the station, but I will get back to you on the timeline.
And why do they need 4 stories for a police department?
So
I don't know any that's 4 stories right
And a
now.
transit police.
A
department.
transit, not even city police, transit. Even
Jail,
though
jail cells.
we right that even though that we've been asking for more funding to get another precinct, right? Because the 7-5 is stretched
So,
to capacity, right?
yeah.
We have the whole gateway area back there, and we have more development coming, right? We are not hearing anything about that. Why would Transit District 33 need a 4-story building to house the cops that they have? They're much smaller than a 75th precinct.
Yeah, so my understanding is that if you're building a new facility altogether, they have to include all of like the needs of, there will be community space inside, like a community meeting space. They're all gonna have to be fully ADA accessible. They're gonna have things like, ADA accessible bathrooms, including, changing facilities, including facilities to temporary hold individuals if needed. There are also certain security protocols that have to be followed about different entrances in different spaces. And so this is NYPD design.
I'm still not hearing why they need a 4-story. So you're saying that the community space is so that we can have meetings?
Yes, it's a community.
And
it's a community
ADA,
space.
they're worried about ADA when we can't get ADA right here in this building?
yeah.
And it's NYPD.
And it's NYPD here? I'm not understanding the priority, how they're prioritizing Broadway Junction opposed to the outer skirts of the neighborhood.
It's
I
not
know,
that far though.
not unless they're gonna give us a Barclay or.
Because Long Island Railroad, they service a lot of different folks that's coming into our neighborhood, right?
To catch the train,
Right.
Take
to
out-
go somewhere else.
Yes. Yes.
Not spending $1 here,
Yes.
just going by.
And it gives a concrete public space to play handball, I guess.
It's to me, it's giving the, what is it, Brooklyn Central booking, like a second. station.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
it's giving to me. Especially
Right.
with the closing of Rikers.
Right. Forgot about that.
I just want to engage in a series of questioning someone on that point of information. The 33 million, was it passed in the current fiscal year, or is that for the next fiscal year budget? Just quickly, point of information, and then.
I'll have to get back. I don't know because this isn't a confirmed site or
Okay.
project yet. So I don't know if it's been passed or allocated at all, but I can get back to you on that.
Please forgive our dwelling here, but as you can tell, this is a big topic, and it's the
Yeah.
newest piece of information, and also why you consider the word confidential at the bottom of the
Sorry.
document. But,
Sorry, disregard that.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm presenting at a public
Okay.
meeting, so it's not confidential.
So probably
Yeah.
confidential to someone that you did present. But here's a couple other questions. So we're really concerned about this site, obviously. I don't even know if police usually park outside on the street. You're saying it's gonna be taken somewhere, I don't trust that. So, especially when there's public realm investment that's already secured and being planned for that street. Especially since we're already mentioning the hazard that is a commute from the LIRR through Van Sinderen. So I really recommend that you give us the alternatives that you're considering, even if you deem them not viable.
Right.
We're not kids here.
Right.
Give us the alternatives. We can also, we could huddle up ourselves. We need to do, we're a team here, we're a family that lives in the community.
Yes.
So we need to do some internal huddling as well, based on what you're considering. So give us the alternatives, whether they're viable or not. Give us what you consider. So I just wanna really be firm about that, because you can tell how much we've dwelled on this topic here, that it's important to us. And I understand the replacement of the site, because you need to knock down that retaining wall, which is basically where the site is housed right now, the transit police, and replace it somewhere else. My last point here is, this plaza that you're planning diagonally, the one that abuts the private plaza, right? We fought so much to make that plaza bigger, because it's housing transit police parking, is it not?
Yes.
And yet, that plaza will still house the other half. Private police parking, would it not?
Yeah.
So the transit parking is going to be within the new building, inside the new building.
I understand, but this
I
plaza
don't see
that I'm
that.
saying, half of it,
I don't see that happening.
the other side, is not being full-blown converted to a plaza, because you're still planning on housing transit police parking there. Look, if you look at, right? So that's a big point that I have to say in all of today here, is that the needs of what you're trying to prioritize here. And so you're trying to place a beauty of a plaza with a private plaza and totems, right, on that scale of things, and then and parking. That's not a continuous, a commute for pedestrians. We need to really, really end what your desires are here versus ours, and come to the table together. Because this is just not it, how we're doing things. And so I really recommend talking to us about the alternatives and scrapping all of that parking. Because last time I checked, this is being converted into a 7 ADA accessible elevator in a transit hub, so anyone could take the train. And that's why I'm going to leave it that with that plaza site. We fought so much to make it bigger, make it the biggest. We're not aiming for great, we're not aiming for good, we're not aiming for great, we're aiming for the ideal for our neighborhood.
Right.
Thank you.
And on that note, I think that we need to reach out to CB16 and CB4, Mr. Camacho and Ms. Morgan and them. We need to be on one accord with this. Because we do not want them to play one against the other.
Divide and conquer.
We need to be on the same accord, saying the same exact thing, because all three of us together saying the same thing, they have to listen. That's my suggestion, that we reach out to Camacho at CB4, Ms. Morgan and them at CB16, and let's come together, because it seems like a bait and switch kind of thing, and we're not getting all the facts. That's what I'm gonna say.
And
So
we're being held hostage.
yes, you give us this, we'll give you your elevator and your
We'll give you
ADA.
what everybody else has, if you give us,
Yeah,
Yeah,
give us
Like
something.
incentives.
yeah.
yeah.
So that's the suggestion that
And
I'm
think-
making,
and
that we
think
need
about the
to.
folks involved. You got less of this. Now I'm thinking total.
Lesser
You see,
and
I heard
total.
2 names in this.
lesser in total. Yeah.
And they get 4 stories out the blue, and it's only 1 story.
Because with
Total
Amazon,
got that much space.
CB3 and
Total got that
CB8 got
space with
separate
subway.
presentations. There wasn't even CB3, CB8, Amazon, Atlantic Avenue mixed use plan.
Mhm.
CB3 and CB8 got different presentations. It wasn't even the same. It wasn't even the same city employee that was designated for the. Because CB8 they wanted more. They wanted more like commercial jobs and things like that. And then for us it was like 2 blocks of residential. So yeah, we were not on the same page.
Yes.
And CB8 they were the ones that wanted it from I think 2014, 2013. Yeah.
What did you say, Julia?
I thought it was prior to 2010.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Jesus. So CB8 came up with an idea that affected 2 blocks of CB3, and there were 2 totally different
Oh, no, that was city
conversations.
planning that added CB3. No. City planning added CB3. And Councilman Chiose added CB3.
So we got homework.
So yeah, you want to make sure everybody's hearing the same
Same.
Yeah.
thing.
Go keep continuing.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. She's like, oh my lord.
No,
No, this is fine.
She's one
I was
of
on a
them, too.
community board for 10 years, so I sat at where you sit, so
You understand?
I get it. Just tell me all and I'll bring it back.
Right.
So moving on to the industrial business zone, activating city-owned assets, right? So there was a vacant lot on 1762 East New York Avenue. We issued a RFP and really focused on things that are related to green economy. And I think maybe a couple weekends ago, there was a ribbon cutting for Sure We Can. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they have another location in Brooklyn. This is now their second location. And the city is with EDC, DCAS, DSNY, we're able to get them into that site with a lot of upfront support for rent reduction to get them up and running so that they can be successful in that site that was formerly a vacant lot. And then moving on to our East New York industrial building, we are near completion for a $9 million renovation and upgrade, and we are excited that there will be 2 new tenants there, Lambo Mechanical and Sensible Housing. They are both minority women owned businesses in the green construction trades. So they'll be in those spaces in the next couple months. And then also we released one RFP for both of these sites, the Sackman Street site and a Williams Avenue site. One is a vacant lot, and the other is a long time ago started as a school, and then most recently was a DHS shelter. I think you guys may know that that shelter is being relocated to another location. So that entire building now is currently being open for bid for interested parties.
Is that 116 Williams?
116, yes. 116 Williams Avenue, yes.
Where are they moving them to?
I don't remember. We have that, and I can get that for you. But I don't think it's that far away.
Pennsylvania and Glenmore. Pennsylvania and Glenmore Avenue.
That's what you're moving them?
That's what they said was putting a women's shelter.
At the hotel?
On Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania School. Pennsylvania Avenue and Glenmore.
Oh, directly the street from Maxwell?
Yes.
Yeah.
That new building? Yes, that 8-story, 8-story building.
It's
I don't know. I'm gonna
I
rely on her to
confirm.
get us the information.
I can
I
give it
don't
to you.
know.
I have it. I just don't
Okay.
have it right now in my brain. It's in my inbox, but I can
Okay.
get that's one of the easier answers I can get for you.
Can we ensure in that RFP process that shelters aren't part of the criteria for accepting an RFP? I know that shelter got in there because of some loophole where a shelter can be in manufacturing space. But we our community is, bear a heavier burden, a disproportionate burden
Yep.
of shelters.
So the RFP is a public document. You can go to the EDC website and download it. But the intent is the real focus, one of the priorities of it is workforce and local workforce development. And so in that vein, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but we did a whole engagement. We did a whole engagement series with organizations and different community groups in partnership with the council member. And really what we're focusing on, because this is within the IBZ, is jobs generating
Make sure to pull it
industrial
in.
use or uses that support green economy. So that is the umbrella in which we're considering proposals for both of those sites. I have one extra here.
Okay.
I only made 10 copies. I didn't know how. I can also email the report to you guys as well. So it will not. The short answer is it will not be a shelter. And then I think the other thing, which is on the very last page, is that we launched an East Brooklyn Workforce Development Fund RFP. So this was back in November, and really it was a way for us to directly infuse money into local workforce programs or ideas for workforce training in East Brooklyn for both legacy and emerging industries. So that RFP, we got really good responses for them. We've reviewed them, and we will be making awards for that shortly. And so I think, I'm pretty excited to announce those.
What's the total of the fund? Like,
Is $1 million.
okay.
So there will be multiple. It's not all to one organization.
No,
And then I think what's exciting is that what we saw in a lot of these applications are groups that came together and formed sort of like larger umbrella organizations where it's like, if we do this part well and you guys do the other part well, let's partner together and try to like build new training opportunities and new pipelines by using this as seed money, which is really the intent. So we're really excited about the applications that came in and like excited to share them with you once they're final.
Oh, I just caught the latter part. Are you able to give us a little sneak, a little peek behind the curtains on who submitted the application?
No, I can't.
I tried, man. Yeah.
I can't. We're close. We're going to come back to you in the next couple months.
Okay.
We're very close. We can't tell you before we tell them,
Just a little peek.
We won't tell them.
It's just going to be on YouTube.
Facts.
So that concludes my presentation. I hear your concerns. I'll bring those back to you. I will email any answers that I can get for you quickly, and follow up. And certainly, if you want us to come back next month and not wait,
That'd be good.
we're happy to do that as well.
Thank you for your honesty.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you for standing our building here. We do it because we love our community.
Of course.
Yes, very good. Okay.
Good time.
I don't have anything else. Any old business we have in I didn't get, I missed meetings, so I don't know what we have.
You have to bring up your business. Your business. You'll be over here.
I don't know. Old business, we have any old business we need to take care of?
Yeah,
I think we had enough with this. But I thank you all so much for the questions and for us knowing this is our community.
Yes, ma'am.
And like I said earlier, you tell people that's there with the money what we want, and you give them plans and everything else, and then they come back and show you what they want you to have. Because this is not, but we're not taking that anymore. We did it for years.
Amen.
And I think we need to tell them that this won't work and do some of the things that we used to do.
Just for the new business segment, definitely be a part of the future agenda in regards to this committee introducing a resolution to the General Community Board in regards to toxic home flipping. Apparently over $382 million worth of toxic home flipping is taking place within East New York. We're in the top 10 statewide in regards to toxic home flipping. New York State Senatorial District 19, Roxanne Facade District, is 4th place in toxic house flipping. There is key legislation on the state level to combat that. And I would like to see if this committee could start discussing on the agenda, be put on the agenda for next month in regards to creating a Community Board 5 resolution in regards to encouraging our state electeds to support the legislation to end toxic home flipping.
I don't know if we can do a resolution for them to join on, but we have done a resolution signing on with Salazar for the bill. We have done that. I think we can do that, but I don't think we as a community board can go to a specific elected official to do a resolution for them to join in on the bill signing. You know what I'm saying?
But maybe if we,
Rephrase it.
if they, well, she should, whoever the elected official is,
Miss-
may get others to join her to sign it. We can encourage her to do that.
Yeah.
Or encourage banks, is that's not.
It's,
And that's
it's,
it's a state level.
Senator
but-
Prasad, Nikki Lucas,
Uh,
Nikki Lucas, Senator
Yeah.
Prasad,
Eric
and
Delon,
Eric
and
Delon.
then
Okay.
and then Senator Salazar. The key is just so that this robust, energetic committee is know the pulse, and by us just having a resolution, it will resonate to the elected official that we're aware of this financial injustice that's taking place, displacement that triggers Detroit, theft, banking injustice, and all of these key things based on toxic house flipping, coming from a committee and hopefully the community board up for vote. There's a resolution that we stand totally against any form of toxic home flipping. And I just want for us to have that discussion in next month so folks can know in detail as far as what it is, its negative impact on you and your families, you and your mother and father, on how it impacts to the Detroit, the banking injustice, the economic stress that is causing, but more importantly, the violence of displacement that it actually causes within East New York. So it can resonate, because it's concerning that out of 4 state elected officials that represent East New York, only 1 is signed on to the bill, and our community is mostly negatively impacted by this. But this is just more or less just as far as new business, but definitely if it could be an agenda item next month, so that way we can just start having folks to be aware, informed, educated, and then also crafting a resolution for the community board, to introduce.
So could you do me a favor, Albert? Could you write up all of this that you're telling us?
Oh, yes.
And then we'll share it with all of us, and then we could all read it and see what we may want to inject or reject. That's whatever it is that you're doing.
Thank you.
And this way, if you could do that, that's something that we can work on. And not only that, but if there's anything else that we are looking at in our community, we haven't done that in a long time. We used to ride around in the community, look at all the stuff that's vacant, and then find out why it's vacant, and let's do something about it. And then too, on another note, there's so many homeowners. Did you see the list that they put out for these?
Tax liens.
Yeah. And there ought to be a way that we might be able to pull in those homeowners and do something, I don't know, about that, so that we could help them save those homes. And it's not a lot of money some of them owe.
And just to add that there is the East New York Community Land Trust in partnership with even Councilmember Banks and Councilwoman Sandy Nurse, due to the fact they are 1 and 2 for the most homes that's on the tax lien sale, had initiated a door knocking campaign basically every Saturday on these said homes. So they're her staff or her actually started on this side where they're knocking on folks' homes that are on
their
the
list.
sale, that's on the lien sale, and explain to them how they can get off the lien sale. And they also is hosting various community briefings, things of that nature, providing the necessary literature. Because Ethel Cook, she was the one that was there last week Saturday knocking on doors. You can tell she's from East New York CLC. Got the sweater on right there and everything.
Albert,
So,
you could speak on that, on the general, you know, that about the flipping and all that. You could speak on the general, as happening, you know, general meeting. So you could start that process. You know, you can do that.
Is there, something that we can do in collaboration with the Department of Finance to give a reprieve for this area, for those homes, like, cause that is, you know, that level of cultural displacement.
Yeah.
Anybody looking at codes
Yeah,
anymore?
one of the things-
Forget that, you got an idiot in the White House.
Yeah, one of the things.
And we're gonna have to do what we used to do. And unfortunately, we thought, I personally thought I wouldn't be out in the street going crazy. I'm too old for that now.
no, you're not.
But,
Don't say that. Just
You know,
wisdom.
there's
Just wisdom.
those properties have a lot of equity. One of the things that could be done is we look for some sort of funding for that. Whether it could be through the city, could be through a private bank or something like that. And because the guarantee that they have, the equity they have, they should be able to get a loan with no problem at all. So that's something we can do. We could work with the neighborhood banks, City Bank, Chase, or so. They could come up with some sort of program to lend them money, and that money is secure because you know the amount of equity that they have.
But the lending the money, you gotta have, they want their money back.
No, they're gonna get their money back. But you know that guarantee? The guarantee is the value. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity. A tax sale maybe 20, 15,000. Nonsense. And the houses are worth, you know, in this area, 900,000, 850,000.
But I
What you
think
said?
it's very,
I was gonna say the bank's gonna take the house back.
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
some people you can't help them. Like, literally, I do this for a living. I try and help people, and like people won't get out their own way. And like, if they're not paying their taxes, if you go get them this loan, they're probably not gonna pay that loan, and then they're gonna get their house taken anyway.
Okay, I've been in real estate, my brother, for 78, since 1978. And I happen to disagree with you. The people have problems. Sometimes they are out of work or something happens and they fall behind. And what happens, if they only get a break, they could come through. And we're not talking about a loan that's a loan for 20,000. It's peanuts a month to pay that. So what I'm saying is, if you give them a chance, they will overcome it. They could do it. And I've seen it, and I've done it. And I work with people. I work with people where they have fallen behind in there, and I have worked out arrangements with the banks and so on.
Me too. But what I'm saying
And the
is,
majority of them pay, because what happens is only because they had a problem at one time that they fell behind.
okay, just because, if you can establish an empowerment zone, you can establish a bid, and you can pour money in for other purposes, you can give a reprieve for, it could be a tax reprieve zone. Just how we have the cease and desist zone, like, that's what I'm saying. The Department of Finance, there should be some kind of protection that we should be advocating for this community, historically.
And
To
something,
preserve our home ownership.
and something they could also do, a lot of times, if you go to the city, they'll work out a payment arrangement with you. A lot of people don't know that. So what happens, if you go to them, you can work out a payment arrangement. And then you can continue to pay your regular
If
taxes.
you have a job, it doesn't.
No, but a lot of people have income because they.
You're a senior, but a fixed income.
No, but a lot of people have homes that they're collecting rent, so they have the money. You know what I'm saying? There's ways, we just gotta
Can I
educate
give you
them
one
what to do and how
example,
to
please?
save their homes, you know?
I have a lady, she has a house, her husband died, it went to her. She didn't want anything to do with the house. She hadn't picked up mail in over 5 years.
That's an exception.
No,
That's an exception, my brother.
I deal with this
Okay,
on the regular.
go ahead.
Like, I'm
Let's
just
see
saying,
this
like,
one.
I literally had to go, like, she has a tenant that hasn't been here in 5 years, had to go get old mail from a tenant, go through the mail, find the, like, lender that she has, because she's getting foreclosed on, but she doesn't even care about the house.
It's an exception.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of exceptions out there.
Well, I don't see it.
Well, that's crazy.
People wanna stay in their home, my brother. People wanna stay in their home. They do anything possible to stay in their home. And I see it, I done it, and I helped them.
But I'm sorry,
I know that.
Mr. I have to respectfully disagree with what he said. $20,000 is not a lot of money.
I know that.
But $20,000 paying back on a loan that's only 5 years on top of your $14,000 a year tax bill from the city on your property that's only worth conceivably $400,000 when
How about $800,000?
former Mayor Bill de Blasio's $1.8 million mini mansion in Park Slope has a property tax bill of $800 a year. We need to look into that big disparity between the higher tax rate here in East New York and Brownsville, the CB4, versus the so-called wealthier, economically more advantaged communities. That's why the tax lien sale is so difficult to manage and overcome for Black and brown communities.
So how
Because
can we
are just
start?
naturally painted
how-
into a
Okay, let's put some of this into action. How can we start that? I like what you're saying.
Well, that's the New York City Division of Racial
No, but
Equity or whatever it's
it's
called.
also
She's got the last name.
it's also the protections for the intoxic home flipping and things like that.
The cease
Because
and desist.
every
The
time,
cease and
and cease and desist, because every time a sale transpires, it changes the tax rate in the area. So when we have all of this development and speculation and all of this flipping, it's raising all of our property taxes.
So that's something that we have to deal too. The city, we can put pressure on the city to grandfather these folks that are, in other words, not to increase their taxes, increase the new homes. That could be done. And the city council could work on that and do that.
Okay,
So what
how
I'm saying,
can
there's
we get that
ways.
started?
So
I don't like words.
So something
I like
like that,
action.
what you said, bro, that's something that we can put a resolution to the floor. That's something that could come out of this committee, and then we present it at our general board meeting. You know, let's look at putting that on the agenda for next month,
Okay.
so we can really
And I'll have
flush it out.
that for resolution.
You know what I'm saying?
And protections for seniors.
Yes,
Gentlemen,
yes,
back there.
There's a
yeah.
gentleman.
So we can flush it out, because right now, we're definitely not at the stage where we can put anything together and present it for next week.
Oh, no.
So next month, put it on the agenda and we can flush it out, you know. Then maybe we can present it at the general board meeting and do a vote and do a resolution.
Thank you.
Yes.
Information, my first time here. Also thought about that in terms of the taxes coming up, about the value of the houses,
Shut up, yeah.
you know, are going down. So they're not telling you that at the same time. You know, one of my mother's houses is like, taxes going up, but your value is going down. So hopefully that's an investigation to find out all the things that are happening, coming up, especially long-time rentals.
I would ask who's
Property
telling
owners.
you the property.
It's kind of strange.
They're starting to come down, but they're not down yet. They're starting to come down.
Every house is different.
We see it
I'm saying, where are you getting that
hovering
information?
in a way that it shouldn't be hovering. So that's interesting. And second, how would I find out in terms of, I'm on Seneca, between Newport. How would I find out if I see something, maybe housing coming up or something like that? How would I find out, especially this is the committee, what it's being used for, how high it's going to be, things like that?
What area
How can
is
I
that?
apply this?
Well,
I didn't get
There's
his
a
question.
website called YIMBY.
Yeah. Right on the-
YIMBY typically would give you, like, if files are planned for any, like, it's, I think, YIMBY. And they'll tell you what's being built, what is zoned for that. You can use Zola. Zola kind of tells you
Zoning.
what the zoning is, how wide of the street, if it's meant, like, they don't do mandatory inclusionary. In certain areas they do, but like, if it's mandatory inclusionary, all that other stuff. But I live over there. I have a house on William between Newport and William.
Right.
My uncle is on that block. So,
Changes, right, in new lots. Yeah, just want to know, okay.
I just quickly want to just add, this will be very brief, but the biggest thing you can do right now is inform the community that's on that list, lien sale list, that they're on the list and that there's a way out.
Yeah.
There was a whole legislative change of how the lien sale was done. Our community was part of pausing the lien sale from the city for 4 years. Never been done. But we advocated, and that's why and we made legislative changes. So 1 to 2 to 3 unit homes and condo owners can get off the list as a first year exemption. Seniors shouldn't be on that list, right? So those properties, and it's a 90 days list. So in 90 days, their liens will be set. So that's why we're doing the door knocking. So that we see the whatever amount, hundreds and thousands of properties that are there, dwindle to literally close to zero, right? So that's the biggest thing that could be done right now. In terms of getting people homes back through taxes, right, or utility costs, not be sold to Wall Street, which is basically what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's a way to resolve that in the moment. It requires us talking to people that are on that list and saying this is a way out. And that's why people like Ethel are door knocking.
And we have to increase the sense of urgency because the top two council districts on the tax lien sale is 37 and 42. East New York and East New York. Just to the
And for that reason, that's why I'm saying it works in tandem. Like, we need to door knock,
Yeah.
but we also need to put pressure on the city to
Yes.
protect our, especially our seniors
Yep.
in our community.
Yep.
So how do we do that?
You can abolish the tax lien sale coalition. At the end of the day, that thing needs to go away.
Yeah.
And there's already a group that was initiated by the East New York Community Land Trust that initiated that was able to get some of those changes and then partnered up with other groups throughout New York City.
But-
So the goal is to abolish it.
But also putting the pressure on the city council members that represent the representatives for both of those districts that are the two highest districts for the tax lien sale. You need to be doing something for your community
Yep.
to protect those homeowners that probably have voted for you time in, time out into office.
So I would ask that, Roll, Boris, Julia, Al, you guys email Ms. Bright and Brother Paul those points. So it's coming from the co-chairs to the district manager to start the process, right? We can send a letter or send something to Chris and Sandy on CB5's heading of those concerns. And then next month, we can have on the agenda what we discussed about the resolution, about the tax reform, reaching out to tax finance, because right now we're just going over the same thing over and over again. And, you know, this way we have an agenda and we'll be focused on the agenda, and then we can move it out of committee onto the general meeting.
And we could invite them to come to the meeting, to our meeting, general meeting, to
Invite who?
the council people to explain to us, tell us what they're doing.
There you go.
Yes.
Isaiah, make a motion to.
Isaiah.
So much.
Wait a minute,
Good night, everybody, and thank
Wait a minute,
you.
let's give a hand.
Yes. Thank you. To all of you.
I want you to sign my book. You are mentioned in the book. I got it separated. Page 13 and 178. I want you to sign my book.